everyone, this is Christelle from Christelle's Art Factory. Like millions of people, I have caught the bullet journal bug. I discovered it only last week, to be honest with you, and I watched quite a few videos on YouTube, and like many people, I've always been struggling to keep, you know, all the tasks that I need to do. We lead very busy lives nowadays, so it's hard to fit in your goals really sometimes in your life. And I've tried loads of different methods of trying to keep track of what I need to do and setting goals and setting time aside as well to relax and create, but sometimes it is so hard, you just end up not achieving anything. So when I saw this technique, basically this concept of bullet journal, I found it quite appealing because it looks really simple, and to me it looks really achievable. And the bonus is you can decorate it, you can make it look pretty, and you can create at the same time. So even if you don't have time to create a piece of art, just even preparing your bullet journal, you just doodle and decorate, you're still creating. So I really like that concept, and I decided to give it a go. So very shortly I'm gonna show you how I started my bullet journal, which is this sketchbook that I have here. I got it from Ryman, which is a local stationery store, and they sell a little bit of art supplies as well. It's actually the Ryman's brand, and it is really good. I think it's 140 GSM for the pages, so I can even paint on it, use watercolor. That will hold then, and there's an elastic to keep it closed as well, so that's quite neat. And I can even put it in a bag if I'm going somewhere, or if I'm going away, and still be able to use it and enter information and tasks in it. So I shall see you shortly after my little video on how I began my bullet journal planner. And what I shall do afterwards is show you what I've added, the kind of entries I've made, and I've also prepared the next 2 weeks as well, so I'll show you what I've done. Okay, since I started creating my journal planner, I wanted to show you what I had done since. On my first page, I'd already started using that journal, to be honest with you. I've got my polychromos colors that I have, and I did a drawing as well, but I thought, oh well, I'm going to use that because that's just perfect size and the perfect format. Now what I did was to put on my first page my legend, so all dates in my year page, which I have circled or colored in pink coloring pencil. It's like a neon pink, oh, neon pink, neon pink, sorry, are birthday dates I need to remember. Orange is going to be events I'm going to, and yellow is going to be appointments. Now for my weekly entries, which are also a little bit like daily entries as well, I've put them all together. I didn't want to do separate ones, it just seemed repeating it a bit too much, and I'm quite pressed for time. I don't have much spare time, so I want something that's going to be quick for me to do. So basically, if I have filled in circle, for me that's a task to do. If it's a dash or an hyphen, it's going to be an event. If it's something that is both, I've just drawing a circle. A task that I haven't done yet and I need to reschedule, I'm putting a circle with an arrow inside. If it's very important or a priority, I'll put an asterisk next to it. If it's crossed out, that means I've cancelled that task or that event or that appointment, whichever entry it is. For appointments, I'm putting triangle, and for shows or movies to watch, I'm just drawing a very simple eye there. So I've got my presentation page here, which I've done with just black marker and my neon coloring pencils, and I've used some stamps as well with just pigment ink for this one there. Now what I've done, I've added to it, this is my yearly plan here, where I've put all the dates, I've decorated it, and I've color coded it for each month as well, as you can see. What I found is that I had no room to put what I needed to do. If it's birthdays, I could put, you know, whose birthday it is. I had a little bit of room there, but as you can see here, it's very little room. I can't really write anything. So what I've decided to do, I took a page from that journal, cut it in half lengthways, and I used some magic tape, the clear tape, to attach it on the end. So that one was plain, so I just decorated it with some doodles, and I've just kept the same color for each month. And for instance, May, I'm choosing blue, so May to plan, and here I've got the room to write down everything I need to remember that's going to happen or that I'll need to do during that month. So I've done this for all my months there. So these are for this side. This little part here, if I close it that way, are for these months here. As you can see, same color, and when I turn it over, I've got the green for November, the blue for December, and on this part here I wrote my yearly goals, so things I want to achieve or try to do during the year. And as I had a little bit of room left here, I've decided to just keep it for more goals if I'm running out already, because, well, we're already mid-May and I've only got that bit left, so if anything comes up I haven't got an awful lot of room, so at least I've got a little bit of extra here. Now this is my month page as well, very easy. I just colored it in, I had a spare page here, so I just put "let the games begin." In other words, well, you know, let's get this started and stick to it, pretty much. So really simple, just to fill the page, really, that's all it was. I use coloring pencils to color in my patterns on this page here. Now I've got my monthly pages here. So on this side I've got all the days of the week for this month and the dates. I've got an overview column here where I'm putting what I need to do, main events or main things I need to do, and I've put a little column here for gratitude. So each day then I'm going to write down what I'm grateful for on that day. On this side, this is my monthly goals and tasks page. So really simple, just putting a box next to each one so I can tick it off if I've done it. So see, this I've done, I've ticked it, this I've done, I've ticked it, so I've got a few more left to do. Now this page here, I've got the habit trender. I've color coded it for each task, which, to be honest with you, I quite like, because you can see what kind of tasks you're doing the most. You know, I do find it's easier to keep track. But if I'm really honest, I don't think I'm gonna keep it as color coded, because I'm always looking for the color, the right color to fill it in. So what I might do is just have just two colors and just alternate them, so there's a separation between the two. On that side here, I've written down, obviously I've covered because it's a bit boring, it's bills. So I've written down on each day where I've got bills coming out of my account. On this side here, I've got my monthly blog articles, videos, ID. So every time I've got an ID for this month, for any of these topics, I just write it down here. I've covered it because I don't want to spoil surprises. On this one here, very similar to the blog articles, videos, IDs, just creative IDs, IDs for projects basically, or even just, you know, personal projects, not necessarily to something to share. On this one I've got notes and quotes, so if I come across this month of a quote that I like, I'll write it down here. Anything I can think of, you know, anything I want to do, I'll just write it down here, so just to make sure I don't forget. I've attached an envelope, again with magic tape on each side, and I've got my May Keep Safe here, which I've decorated. I've put some washi tape as well to close it, and anything I want to keep for this month. Like we went to London a few days ago, and we got some French patisseries, so I've kept the receipt, so I want to keep that. Now these pages are my week overview. I've just filled it in again using the legend that I explained at the very beginning. Every time I've done one, I've ticked it. This one here, I couldn't do it on that day, so rescheduled, and so on and so forth. And I think anything that's been done has been marked at the end of the day, has been marked as either done or rescheduled or cancelled. Now at the bottom I've got my goals, again with a little box to tick or cross when I do them, and my wish list. Now for my wish list, I've put, well, this month is this week is things that I wanted to buy, that I came across and I really fancied. Now as you can see, one of my goals was no spending. And as you can see, my wish list, everything's been ticked. So I've put a cross on my goals here because definitely I didn't achieve that. So, but I've got really nice art supplies instead, so I think it's worth it. So there you go. But obviously, wish list is not exclusively things that you'd like to buy or things you fancy. It can, you know, it can even be just read a book. you know. It can be go outside for a walk and relax. It can be just, you know, anything that you want to do or you want to get, basically. Now, these pages, I've got on that side week achievements, which I've started filling in because I have achieved some of the goals I wanted, and to review or reschedule on that side. And again, I've started filling that in. I've got on this side quote of the week. What I wanted to do originally when I did this was to pick a quote that would reflect the week, basically. And I thought at first, well, I will search for a quote from, you know, someone famous. But in the end, I thought, well, I'd rather actually write what I want to say. So this is what I've done, basically. And my quote, or my affirmation, or whatever you want to call it, for the week is: there is beautiful and ugly everywhere, but there's no place like home. And I've stuck a piece of the patisserie bag that we got in London, and it's just, you know, it's just reminding me where I'm coming from. But even though it's where I'm coming from, well, to me that's not home. So that's what it means to me. It doesn't necessarily mean anything to anyone else, but I've put this part here to remind me that I know that where I live is not where I came from, but it is my home, basically. Now, I've got on these two pages here photos and memories. So I've put some photos. I've got a little Polaroid zip photo printer. I absolutely love it. I just connect it to my phone. It uses Bluetooth. Well, I use it with Bluetooth because it only works that way for me. And you can just print any photos you want from your phone. So that's one of my goals for the year as well. I've realized that over the years I don't take that many photos. You know, it doesn't have to be photos of when you go somewhere, of a special event, but just everyday things. So I've decided to start taking a little bit more photos, and I think it's nice to remember what you've done and look back. It's quite a nice thing. I kept a diary last year, and it's quite nice to see and look back on last year, what happened, what we've done, and just even in just everyday things. So this is why I've done this section here, basically. So I've got some photos from beginning of the week of my son and my cat together. On that side here, I've put some photos from our visit in London and some little comments as well, using washi tapes as well. Here I've put samples of 3 washi tapes that I ordered. They're absolutely gorgeous. They are a Van Gogh collection, and if you're interested, you can find them at susiebsupplies.com. I actually got them from Amazon. And when I received them, there was a washi tape at the back of the envelope and the website address, and I thought, oh, I like that washi tape. So I went on the website and I ended up buying 6 different washi tapes. So it's a really, really good website. And I've put a little banner thing here for yesterday. I got a publisher kind of software. So just for me, you know, to remember, I get it on that day. So there you go. So that's my week. That's what I've done with the week you've just seen me created. Now I'm gonna show you very quickly what I've done for next week and the week after. I've done 2 weeks because I know what kind of pages work for me, so I kind of know what I can do, really, if that makes sense. Now for next week, this is my weekly overview and daily as well. I've got each day what I've done here. for the colored parts is just to use some square notepad colored, colored paper, and just cut them. That's all I've done. Glued them with just a glue stick. I used a brush marker, black brush marker from Faber-Castell, the Pitt brush pens. I absolutely love them. They're one of my favorite art supplies. And all I've done is just to write down the date, so the day and the date, and just outlined the piece of paper. So I've got my days of the week here. I've started filling in things that I need to do and things that will happen. It's my cat's birthday on Friday. He's 3. And with little bits of papers leftovers, I've done the same for my wish list, which is here, and my goals there. So very simple, nothing complicated. Again, I've prepared my double page spread for my photos and memories of the week, and as you can see, I used yellow and green for my week, so I'm trying to keep the same color scheme for each week as well. So I use just plain, I think they're barrel brush, the ones I use, barrel brush markers. They're kids markers, so they don't break the bank, but they're really good quality. So I use these to write down my title, just linking it with just like a frame, making it into a frame and coloring it the outside there. And I just outlined the words using, again, Faber-Castell Pitt pen. I think it was the small tip or the fine tip, one of the, I think it's the small tip, that one. So that's my double page spread. Again, used my barrel brush marker for my weekly notes. I decided to call it weekly notes. It's more general. I can put whatever I want. I've got on this page my week achievements and to reschedule or improve. So again, I can reflect back on the week there. So that's next week. For the week after, I've done a little banner here to write which days this week covers, and I drew some boxes, almost like a Polaroid kind of style for these. So I'll write my notes here in there, and I've got the day and the date for each box there. And with the space I had left, I just doodled some hearts linked, dangling hearts, things like that. And I created my 2 boxes, wish list and my goals here. And I think what I'm gonna do next is just to color in the hearts, maybe the banner as well, and my titles here as well, but I'm gonna leave the rest plain. I just want to keep it as simple as possible. Don't want it too busy, otherwise, well, it just defeats the purpose. You can't see what's your goals and what you need to do. So now I have again my double page spread of photos and memories. So really simple, block letters, just a little banner style here, a little tab here, and just loopy lines to create my frame. I've done another photos and memory double page spread here because on that week we're going to London to the comic convention, so I'm expecting to take loads of photos. So then we can put bits and bobs here as well. And again, very simple, my weekly notes here, and on this page my week achievements and to reschedule or improve. So as you can see, it's quite easy, it's quite versatile as well, because if you start by having a look at everything that's available, if you have a look on videos on YouTube, it gives you ideas, and it makes you think, oh yes, actually, I can use that, I know I'll use that. So you can try it, and if it doesn't work for you, then the next week you just change it. So it's really easy concept, I think, to do. So here we go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it inspired you to look a little bit further into the bullet journal concept, and maybe give it a try. Thank you.